What's going down? TK coming at you. You know, I don't like to name names because nowadays that gets you in trouble. But let's just say that for over a year now, I've been branding myself as a solution provider. So in that solution, I always tell people that there's only two answers. There's gold currency and then there's cryptocurrency. Both alternative forms of money that over time gain value as opposed to losing value. But you know, I try to interact with people. I try to talk to people on a consistent basis. So my normal conversation will usually be, "Hey, how you doing, man? You know, have you done anything in your financial life to plan for the dollar crash?" And that's usually returned with, "Man, the dollar's never going to crash. America's the strongest country in the world, blah, blah, blah." Everything that CNN tells them to believe. Nothing to do with reality in terms of the economic shift that's already taken place and that's getting worse by the day. So then I say something like, you know, it benefits you 1,000 times if you have money insurance. And that person usually says something like, "Well, what is money insurance?" Say, "Well, paper money is only worth the confidence that people have in it. So if one day people lose confidence in paper money, then you need some sort of backup plan, and that's what money insurance is." So you can call it a plan B, you can call it money insurance, but the fact is, at some point, people lose confidence in paper, and then there's no value to it because of the fact that the government only deems it valuable because they're all powerful and they're God in most people's eyes. So when I say money insurance, they don't understand the question. I either don't get an answer or they just shrug me off and go on with their day. So when you turn down money insurance, when you're not interested in gold, when you're not interested in diversification, my primary thought process is, when the dollar crashes, oh, that's right, you don't believe that the dollar is going to crash because you listen to CNN. So I have a personal thought process that says you deserve whatever the hell happens to you. If the faith and confidence is lost in the dollar and you can't eat, then so what? Because you chose not to diversify it. You personally said you didn't want gold. And every time somebody mentioned it to you, like when I mention it, you laugh or you ignore me and walk away. There's never any personal action on your part. There's never any preparation, planning, prudent action, strategic setup, nothing. So what's not important to you shouldn't be important to other people when the shit hits the fan. And that's just how I feel about it. That's my personal feeling. Because when you talk about your product and your product being money, anytime somebody turns down money and they say, "I don't need that, I don't want that, that's stupid, why would I want to buy gold? I got $100,000. Well, guess what? I make $100,000 too. But I'm smart enough to know that paper money is only worth what the government says it's worth. So it has zero intrinsic value. There's no real value behind the US dollar. And I'm smart enough to know that. So what do? On top of the $100,000 I make, I also have gold currency and cryptocurrency. Because guess what? There's a real value behind those. So the purpose of this video is to combat some of the things that people tell me when I talk to them. When I say, "Hey, you ever thought about buying gold?" They'd be like, "No." Okay, fine. I guess I'm wasting my time trying to help you, because what I'm offering you is money, just a higher form of money, and you are aggressively turning it down with an attitude and telling me that you're not interested. And then you got the type, when you mention this conversation, that say, how strong their paper is. Never in the history of fiat currency has paper outlived or outvalued gold. But you keep bragging, the Mayweathers out there that brag about how strong their paper is. See, I read history, and I realize that other times in history, when paper money went to a zero value, it didn't matter how much of it you had. It didn't matter if you was a millionaire. Matter of fact, the ones who had the most paper during the 1929 crash were the ones jumping out of fucking 10-story buildings. So I'm sure that all of the millionaires today will be the same like it was in the past, because history repeats itself. So I'm sure the millionaires will be jumping out of buildings because now all their paper isn't worth anything. But paper always reaches its intrinsic value of zero. It does it. Usually on a 49-year cycle. So start from 1971, when Nixon removed gold from paper and created the "I deem this to be valuable" standard of money, and add 49 years forward, and that tells you where we are in cycles. The problem with TV is that they leave out the principles of nature. They leave out the fact that history runs in cycles. They leave out that cycles can be predicted. They leave out history in general in terms of what happened yesterday, and understanding the past gives you a glimpse into the future. But I'm talking too much sense, so I'm going to leave you guys alone. All I want to say is, if anybody out there is smart enough to realize that paper money has no value, and the only value that paper money has is based on the government that deems it, then I encourage you to get some gold, get some cryptocurrency, and diversify in other forms of money outside of just fiat. And if you want to be a Mayweather and talk about how strong your paper is, then more power to you. Just don't cry when you can't eat.